Welcome to Mobile Musings. I'm Sierra Modro. Today we're talking the latest update to iOS 7.1. Now 7.1 is a dot release. That's the .1 at the end. Dot releases generally don't include major features, major functionality, or major changes. And iOS 7.1 is really no exception. There are a few features that you may notice and a few that you probably won't. Looking at features you probably will notice. The first is in Calendar. Calendar includes now a couple of new display options. A new display option for the month view, which will allow you to actually see the events that are happening on any particular day you have selected in that month view. There's also a new option in the day view that allows you to see your day either in the standard way that it's been looking for iOS 7 with kind of a calendar view, or you can do it in an agenda view, which just gives you the actual appointments times during the course of the day. Both of these are new views that have been heavily requested, so many of you may see those new features within Calendar. The second feature that you probably will notice is pretty minor. They've updated the way many of the buttons are displayed throughout iOS. Now, you probably saw when iOS 7.0 was released that it changed completely the look and feel to a much more rounded look, a lot more circles. Well, there were still a few design elements that were a lot more rectangular. In 7.1, those rectangles are gone, and we've got a lot more consistent UI experience throughout. The biggest place you're likely to notice this is in the telephone app. And in the phone app, you have big rectangles for answering calls and making calls. And those big red and green buttons are gone. And now you have small circles that are the same size as the rest of the numbers on the keypads. So that's something you'll notice here and there throughout, is a little bit of an updated UI design related to making things a little bit more consistent and a little bit more circular. A new feature that was released specifically for iPhone 5S users relates to the HDR camera. Now, HDR is high dynamic range. So if you're in a situation like a bright sunny day where there really is a high dynamic range between shadows and really bright sunlight, then what HDR does is take multiple pictures at different exposure levels, combine those automatically into a single picture that's supposed to be the best possible picture the phone can take in that high dynamic range. Now, what they've done for iPhone 5S users is make that automatic. Previously, and still for all of the other camera devices out there, you had the option of selecting HDR or not on a case-by-case basis. But now with the iPhone 5S, the iPhone will actually decide for you whether or not the scenery warrants you doing an HDR photo. It's kind of a nice feature that you can enable permanently on your iPhone 5S. The next feature is for those of you who are big Siri users. Now, undoubtedly you've had it happen that when you're using Siri, you'll pause a little too long. And when you pause a little too long, Siri will lose her place. Now, that can happen pretty commonly. Now, with the updates though, they've enabled a new feature that's almost like a push to talk for Siri. So you can ask Siri something and hold down the button while you're talking. And Siri will keep listening to you until you release the button. So if you've got a long text message or an email, something like that that you're composing, where you may be holding down the button, talking about what you want to include, and pause for a moment for a thought before you continue on, just keep holding that button down and Siri will handle it seamlessly. The final big feature in iOS 7.1, pretty much no one is going to use right now because it's a brand new feature for something that isn't really out there yet. It's a new feature called Carplay. CarPlay is going to come out later in 2014 in select brand new models of cars. So it's not available yet, but it is an exciting feature that we're going to be seeing coming forward in the future. So calendar, updated buttons in the UI, the HDR camera, Siri push-to-talk features, and CarPlay are the big features you're going to notice within iOS 7.1.